And then on the night we have Verdugo. On the 10th we have Academia, and on the 16th we have Xavier Gotti. So things are heating up for Wrestling Wit as we enter September, and coming closer to 5 years of interviews as well. Um, it's a great day for wrestling because we are wrestling with the news. And it was not a good week if your name was Stu or Raja or AJ. Basically, if you were in the Southern California area and was a pro wrestler, yeah, it was not a good week for you. Um, for anybody that's unaware, last Saturday, Knox Pro, the school under Rikishi, held an event. Um, in attendance of this show was Reja Jackson, who is the son of Rampage Jackson, the MMA wrestler. MMA wrestler, the MMA fighter, I should say. Um,
Oh, he was a wrestler. He not that kind of wrestler, but wrestling in high school. Fun fact: I wrestled with him in high school. So this hits home a little bit for your boy.
but I mean, what happened isn't necessarily a joking matter. There was I believe he was invited by somebody. I could be wrong by that. He had a camera crew with him. He got into a conflict with a wrestler named Psycho Stu earlier in the day in their locker room, which was just a parking lot. Um, Stu confronted Roger. Obviously, he saw the cameras, thought he could, kind of get himself over. Um, there was a nothing. Um, he did he did hit him in the Raja in the head with a beer can. But I mean, it didn't seem like it did any damage. Like he was walking is the best way to describe it. People tried to pull Stu away, stating he's not a walker. Don't try and walk with him. Yada yada. Somewhere between that confrontation and Stu's match later that night, it was somebody from Knox Pro came to Raja and said, do you want to make this a work? Do you want to get, quote unquote, a receipt on Stu and maybe get some publicity or, get some, media attention from this? And oh boy, did it get media attention for sure. Um, Raja entered the ring during Stu's match. He did a double leg takedown on him. Um, I'm more than sure that that double leg knocked Stu unconscious because then Raja then proceeded to get on top of Stu and started whirling away on him, punching him repeatedly. He was unconscious. It's clear that he's unconscious because keep in mind, all of this is on video. All of this is video evidence of it. Um, he repeatedly attacked Stu until one of the students for Knox Pro decided to step in and try and pull Raja off of Stu. Also, keep in mind that young student was only 17. So if thank God Roger didn't hit him, but that would have been a whole ordeal in itself if he did. Um, it, he did enough, I suppose, until more wrestlers obviously got privy of what was actually happening. Jumped in the ring. Low key, credit to the guy with the purple and pink dreadlocks because like he really held Raja back out of everybody. Um, but yeah, Stu went to the hospital, was unconscious for some time, was in critical condition at one point. Um, so I mean, I just gave like a lot of information right now. Um, I will say this before we go any further. Stu is conscious. Stu is okay right now. He is. I believe he's in. He's still in the hospital. I could be wrong. Um, but yes, Stu is okay in the end. But this every everything that I just said out of my mouth seems so wrong to actually say because it's so this was so mismanaged and misguided and there was so much ignorance put into this. It could have not ended badly between Raja and Stu and Knox. Um, but like I said a lot of words. You say something now, Kaliko.
I mean, when I got wind of this story and when I saw the video, I was like, oh shit. Uh, cause, and everybody's gonna be like, well, how come you're more involved? I mean, it hits home a little bit to me because it's like I went to high school with Rampage Jackson. So I understand his aspect of it as a father. I also understand the Knox Pro side of it because I've been to a handful of shows. I've Psycho Stu, stand up dude. Um, got to meet him at a couple of the shows um, with a couple of other talents because the one thing I liked about Knox Pro is that they would do like an intermission and you could kind of like meet, talk to the wrestlers and kind of, relax and chill, get to know them, on a personal level. So I like that about him. I had some interactions with him. He was pretty cool. Um, I have an associate who actually wrestles at Knox Pro, and he was one of the people who is catching hell because he actually called the police. So it's it, it's crazy that it even happened because of the fact that he hopped that fence so quick.
There was no
I
fence.
knew
There
no,
was
it
no.
was a little railing. No, the railing. He hopped the railing.
I didn't see a railing. I just saw that his chair was literally front row, and he
Oh
just
no, he hopped it.
he literally walked in the ring.
Oh no, the one I saw, he hopped it. He just hopped it and then he jumped in, and I knew it was over when he slammed the receiver in ramp. Those jumps, and I'm telling you right now, it is not a joke. Um, One thing that bothered me is the fact that the ref, because the first punch, I'm like, yo, that ain't supposed to happen. And you could just see the ref was just sitting there like not knowing what to do. And I think that to me was like the disappointing part because he froze.
Because the ref is
And
supposed to
to
be the
me, that
person
was
that steps in when stupid shit like that happens to begin with.
exactly. So that was my first initial because I'm talking about he's just going hard on him, and I'm like, what are they doing? What the hell are they doing? Like, why is he not helping? So I saw the guy came in and tried to put him in a power driver or whatever the case may be. But it shouldn't even have been that far because the ref should have been the first person when he sees a person not in the show hop in the thing and start doing that. And I've been to those shows, so I know exactly like etiquette. I've been to a Knox Pro show, so I can and Knox Pro, I I could have swore he hopped the railing, but I've been to a Knox Pro, and I'm not saying I've been to Knox Pro shows where the front row is literally clear. So,
Right.
but even then, I mean, I've sat front row at Knox Pro shows, and I know good damn well not to get my ass up the. And then you have the interaction that's happening on the internet with certain wrestlers and how they feel about it, um, and how people feel about it. Because one, should Psycho Stu had have done that? No.
No.
Did Psycho Stu think he was one of the talent? Because obviously he's in the back. You just don't allow anyone in the back,
Especially with
right?
cameras. He had a camera crew with him.
Right. So he's out here doing IRL streaming, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So what? So one, I mean, usually locker rooms are way more strict. I remember I went to a Compton Mania show. The backs just to get backstage to get the because I had a trash can that I wanted autographed that they used. They didn't even let me go within 10 feet of the backstage. So that tells me, I don't know how loose that backstage was that night. Because usually Knox Pro, you kind of know where you are, especially considering, Rikishi's there and no one's really going to go out of pocket. So that's what made me wonder, was Rikishi there? Was any of his siblings there? It's a lot of more questions and answers. Who allowed him to come backstage? What wrestler even brought him backstage? What was the whole deal? And then, not to mention, that happened. That shouldn't, because the thing is, even though Psycho Stu did it, and technically he was in the wrong, it wouldn't have been a thing if he didn't have access backstage.
And another thing is, there's a difference between getting somebody that kind of let's say low key punked you, and then attempted murder.
Well, that part, and I also look at the fact that I saw there was a video that they said that they ended up being cool,
Yes.
right? So once that happens, he thinks it's done. So if as a human being, if I apologize and you take it, the assumption is okay, it's over.
Right.
To go back and go, oh no, give him the receipt that's where it's also wrong.
So let me
because
continue.
Because they also were like, give him the receipt. And here's the thing: if they were going to make that into a work, he was the last one to know.
Yeah.
And that's the other part of it. Because if they knew it was going to be a work, you would think the person taking the punch would be the first person to know.
I mean, you would think. So, like you said, supposedly, and I have not seen it. There is video footage of Stu apologizing to Raja, because obviously Raja is not a worker. He said apparently he apologized, thought they were cool. It seemed, from what I hear, it seemed like Raja accepted the apology. From that point, that's where this other individual joins the conversation, and that is AJ Mana. Supposedly, he talked to Raja sometime between then and him going into the ring, and wiled him up and provoked him into getting his, as they say, receipt on Stu. Um, as of right now, I saw AJ was fired from Knox Pro, because he is being affiliated with the attempted murder case on Raja, Because yeah, the police the police were involved in this. Um, there is an investigation going on. This individual, AJ Mana, is a part of it. Again, it's attempted murder. As of right now, Raja is not incarcerated. I mean, he honestly should be. I mean, if you see some video, if you see that video footage as a police officer, wouldn't you say we need to lock this person up? But the American, you know, um,
But it also reminds me of though uh Dark Side of the Ring when Bruiser Brody got murdered and the cops couldn't tell whether it was a work or not. Now clearly we know it's not a work. Uh I think that it's a pending investigation. I don't think they're just going to straight up arrest him because they got to figure out the, it's the court of public opinion is pushing this rather than the court of law. So we just got to let them play it out, and I'm pretty sure that they're going to deal with the proper people as as they should. I have a lot more faith in it. I just think they're trying to gather as much accurate information because keep in mind, I told you only one person gave a statement about what happened that night, and it was the person that called the cops. That wrestler that was backstage that called the cops. So they're working off footage in one statement, to be quite honest.
so that and Knox Pro did say to to their talent, don't talk to the cops. Um, if somebody asks you, don't talk to the cops. Um, I mean, I
Which
can't.
to me is the craziest thing ever because as a wrestling company, you're responsible for these people's lives. Their lives are in your hand.
I mean, you're not wrong, and it's it was such a it was so it's such a bizarre thing to happen. And in 2025, we're kind of outside of, we're kind of getting past the wild west days of pro wrestling, and the outlaw mudsos and all of that. And for some dumb shit like this to happen, especially considering that it was a WWE ID'd school. It is no longer a WWE ID school. They pulled that right the day after when all of these allegations came out, and you know there's an attempted murder case and all this crazy shit.
Yeah, rightfully so.
Yeah, and
But I mean, rightfully so. And I think it's because it just showed irresponsibility on all fronts. What I mean, the the fact he was backstage that was out of pocket in the first place. Because
right,
all of this would have been avoided had he not been backstage. Now, if he was in the parking lot and this happened, we might be talking a different tune. But the fact that he went into their realm, so the assumption is that you're one of the guys. That's why I don't, it's like me walking in an NBA locker room in the middle of an NBA game.
right. You
I,
don't have
I'm I
you have no
I'm
business
walking
being
into an
there.
environment that got no business being there.
Right.
And that to me is the ultimate. So the wrestler that allowed him to who even gave him access to that needs to be handled quick with the quickness.
For the most part, everybody condemned these actions by Raja. Um,
Except Mark Henry.
I was getting to it. Oh, most notably, JBL, Jim Cornette, the big dogs when it comes to, podcasting. But, Mark Henry, I don't want to say that he defended it, but he was definitely not, as you know, as strict on Raja as other people had been. Um,
Because he's coming from a perspective of somebody put your hands on you, which I get that perspective he's trying to get, but the issue is that that wouldn't have happened had he not been in a spot that he got no business being in.
I believe that he said something similar, as well. And RVD surprisingly wasn't against it either. But kind of disappoints me considering RVD, one of the most beloved and chill guys you that's known in pro wrestling. Um,
Because they're looking at it from a defense stance instead, which I get. I get the point that I get it. Don't put your hands on anybody. That I that is a overarching that's the overall message, and that can be true, and it also can be true. Motherfucker, what are you doing back here? Because if you were back there, you wouldn't have no business. You would none of this would have went down.
oh yeah,
So what you know what I'm saying? It's like I mean, if my kid went to go like he loves Logan Paul. If he tries to go when Logan Paul does the backflip and he tries to go down and touch him in the middle of him, like after doing the backflip, whatever happens to him, that's on him because he made the choice to get back there, to be back there.
right.
Granted, that doesn't mean that he should be he should be privy to what happens, but you also got to understand, like, it's easy. He could have been like, I'm not one of the wrestlers. I'm just here to promote. That's to me the other thing too. There was no communication whatsoever between all of it. It just felt like a bunch of dudes in the back, just like kind of having this, letting it go because chats,
Yeah,
and the fact that Raja is like, oh yeah, I'm gonna hurt him for real for 50 subs. I will hurt him for real. So essentially, and I think that's gonna kill him because that's on film and that's that shows intent. So it's gonna come. His day's coming. It's just the fact that it's just a damn shame. It's truly a damn shame.
most notably, somebody that commented on this whole incident is Rampage Jackson himself. He did condemn his son's actions, and he also condemned Knox Pro for putting his son in that situation to begin with. Um,
See,
he he said his son is not a pro wrestler. He does not work pro wrestling, and why he was even considered for that role is just dumb. And he said he was also a couple days prior to that had a concussion, so he should have not been doing anything physical to begin with. Um, he also stated that Knox Pro should not have put him in that situation. That it was ignorant on their part, considering all of these factors, and that he does hope, and he did hope that Psycho Stu did get better and he made a full recovery. So Rampage Jackson, covering all the bases. um,
he's basically said what I said. I
yeah,
mean, but it, it's stupid for Knox Pro to, and everybody can say yeah the receipt and don't hit nobody. But if you are somebody who is associated with the WWE ID, you have a standard now that you have to meet at all times because all eyes are on you.
don't fuck up.
That affiliation is fucking you up. And then keep in mind, they could have picked any wrestling school on the West Coast, and they picked yours.
I mean, we know why it was picked. I mean, it's the Samoan
We know
dynasty.
why. It's the Samoan dynasty. It's the Samoan thing. But that's where that. But to me, that alone should have let the wrestlers who are in the program know that they are in a situation of very, very good fortune, and to not do anything to fuck it up, not to fuck up the culture there. And that to me is a bigger issue. See, that's the biggest problem with me. It's a culture issue.
So people people want to put the blame. Uh, they're looking to see, who to put the blame on, who's to blame for this,
The
and
blame game. Yeah, everybody's
it's
playing
always a
blame
blame
game.
game. The facts are these: everybody is to blame in this situation.
Yes, everybody got fault, and that's the problem. Everybody's looking at one person when all parts play are to blame for this. Psycho Stu is to blame for putting your hands on somebody you ain't got nobody putting your hands on. Now I'm gonna say that didn't mean that he deserved what he got right there, but that kind of was a catalyst. And I hope that he has the fully speedy recovery, especially as a veteran. And considering that his story was basically wrestling saved his life, because PTSD is no joke when you're a combat veteran. And so I hope he's gets fully healed quickly,
Oh yeah,
although he is still at fault. Raja, you at fault for saying, okay, we cool, and then going back on your word and then going to get the receipt. If you had a problem with it, you should have addressed it like a human being and could have, because the talk out made it assume that it was done, that it was over with, and you decided to take that above your own head. Granted, you were tempted by AJ, who was at fault for even bringing up the fact that I'm going to make sure you get your receipt, which makes it seem like the locker room had an issue with him or AJ had an issue with Psycho, because that's what it made it seem like. It seemed like he just got set up from jump.
I mean, that's a good
Uh,
possibility, but there's a difference between getting a receipt and I will say this: a receipt, the use of the word receipt is not used properly in a wrestling context in this scenario, but that's the word that kind of keeps getting brought up. Um, and there's a huge difference between a receipt and attempted murder.
well, here's the thing. It was I know the culture Raja is from because I am of that culture. And the problem is when you think receipt, you think eye for an eye. When you're angry, you ain't thinking eye for an eye. You thinking I'm getting mine and then some. And that was the problem. See what I'm saying? So he got his receipt. He got his receipt and then some. It's the ref's fault for even letting the dude get in the ring in the first place. It's I mean, it is so many people that just everybody failed in this, and everybody's just trying to find a scapegoat when it's actually everybody holds culpability in this. It can be true that all of everybody is justified, but it also can be true that everybody is wrong.
Right. Um, Next Pro should be held, accountable for all of this. For it, because first and foremost, whoever put Roger into the back, whoever was at the head of that show running it, should have said, "Why the hell is this guy in the backstage? Get him out."
In the first place, because if it's like me going to the Knox Pro show and I've been to them and I just roll my ass and I know exactly how they set the back up depending on where their shows are. So it ain't like it's there, but it's not like you're just gonna go there, right?
Right. Then,
You have to kind of go out of your way to get there.
and second of all, Knox Pro should have stepped in when, if they didn't already step in when Roger was back there and say, this guy should not be back here, get him out. When Stu, maybe overstepped his bounds with Roger, okay, apologize to him, then get out. they should have never,
Exactly.
ever, ever thought it was a good idea to put Reja Jackson, an MMA trained fighter, in a worked sport where he does not where he has no training, no concept of what a work is, no concept of what a pulled punched is. Unless they trained him like 5 minutes before he went out there, but we could both agree 5 minutes is nowhere near the amount of time he needed to be trained to do anything that he should that he did in that ring. And just honestly, shame on Knox Pro. Whoever said that it was a good idea for him to get in that ring to begin with. It was it was ignorant, it was stupid, and now Knox Pro, Raja, and AJ Mana are facing the repercussions for that. I mean, to a lesser degree, Stu is too, because he was the brunt of all of this. He got the worst of it,
He got the worst of it. Yep.
and that's another thing. You mentioned it before. Protect your talent. They did not protect Stu. They for what they thought might be, a good little bit of viral media, having Reja Jackson there, they put their talent at risk.
And their reputation at risk.
Yeah, well,
That's the biggest. That's the biggest key, because now when you think of a person who has graduated from who think if you're a person that is literally on the cusp of graduating from that school to work in the indies.
I wouldn't even say that, but like, let's say maybe tomorrow I decided, hey, I want to train to become a wrestler. Well, am I going to want to train at Knox Pro, considering that, they let one of their talent almost get murdered? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The biggest thing that a wrestling school could have is trust. You have to have trust and a good reputation, in order to attract students. When you break that trust and you have a bad reputation, it's you're not going to get, as we know, a WWE ID, which is now pulled.
Right. Because the WWID was literally the closest thing to guarantee you to get you to where you want to be ultimately, which is the WWE. And now with that, you're better off going East Coast. And especially if you're on the West Coast. And this is the other thing that I hate about it, because West Coast wrestling on the indie scene is, I'm not going to say it's sparse. I'm not going to say that it's not, that it's non-existent, because it's existed and it's all over the place. But being on the West Coast, you won't get as much pop as you would on an East Coast, because East Coast, it's easy to go from Philly to New York to Connecticut to Jersey to DC, because it's all within that range, right?
Right.
West Coast, it's really tough to go from San Fran to LA to Vegas to, you know what I'm saying? So it was really tough. It's really tough. So to get one of those was already like, you're the center of the, not only just California independent wrestling, but independent wrestling on the West Coast as a whole.
Right.
And that to me is the biggest disappointment of it all.
Well, I do hope. I mean, there are good wrestling schools in California. It's not
There are
exclusive to
really
Knox
good.
Pro. Most notably Millennium Pro Wrestling. I don't remember the exact location, but obviously I've interviewed the trainer there. Fantastic, cool guy. Definitely not going to put you in a situation where you're going to get murdered. Um,
Mm.
and
Oh
I
my
was
God.
and Santino
And
Brothers. Obviously,
and
I could maybe make the argument that Santino Brothers is a bigger school than Knox Pro.
are you kidding me?
I mean, considering the amount of talent that came out of Santino Brothers compared, I mean, Ronda
Well,
Rousey
yes,
fucking
yes,
trained at Santino Brothers.
yeah. I was doing some research. I just saw a uh Southern California Pro Wrestling, I guess the promotion, and I'm just reading it. I gotta verify it, but in a bold move, indie pro wrestling company Danger Pro books now infamous son of Rampage Jackson Raja for an upcoming event appearance at their event.
Fuck them.
So I have to verify this. Um, I'm gonna do some research on it real quick, just to I no, because I don't want to report anything and be
Yeah,
like,
I will.
uh,
I will withhold my fuck you to them until that is verified.
hold on, well, I'm hitting the QR code, so
Yeah, but
the
in
the
the
event is there.
well,
Hold on, but I just got to see, will he be at which show? And this is in San Diego in North Park, so I know exactly where the hell this is.
while you're pulling up that information, Level Up Pro Wrestling is also in San Diego.
Yeah, Level Up. I heard of Level Up.
Head trainer is
Um,
B Boy. A lot of great people came out of Level Up as well. So, um,
there's another one in Chula Vista that's really good. But the thing is just that they don't get it, the exposure that they don't get because Rikishi's not in there. You know what I mean?
right.
Rikishi overshadows even like a show like Compton Mania. I love Compton Mania. I love them to death, and Paul London trains those dudes really, really well. But he's even overshadowed like by Rikishi because Rikishi A got the money, B he's got the heritage in the bloodline. So it they. I'm not gonna say that they. It's almost kind of like they got a monopoly over it in a sense, just by name recognition, if that makes sense.
No, you're absolutely right. But unfortunately, you are right on one point. California is a island all on its own when it comes to pro wrestling. While the East Coast is you can't necessarily draw a rock without it hitting a pro wrestling um, promotion. So I mean,
I mean, just think of it. Just think of it in terms of pro wrestling events, like even conventions where they need wrestlers. It's
right.
like it's tough. It's tough. So it just makes the hard even harder.
So we should probably wrap this up with Knox Pro needs a very much needed renovation and maybe a more moral compass on their promotion. Get out of that corny mindset and more of a 2025 pro wrestling mindset. Reja Jackson needs to do some jail time for his actions because you can't just attempt murder on somebody, have it on
He needs to be held
camera.
accountable
You
legally.
need to be held
Yes.
accountable. And while when that happens, hopefully it happens. Whether it happens or not is yet to be seen. Obviously he's son of a famous person, so justice always doesn't always get them. But I do hope that he does get the mental health um, help that he needs because he's clearly not all there, mentally. Um, and hopefully he can learn from this experience. And if he is put into a situation similar to this in the future, that he could actually, handle it like, a normal human being and not, the way that he actually
He
did.
doesn't wear pajamas. Just take your clothes off.
I don't think he should become a streaker, but he could do him. And then when it comes to Psycho Stu, thoughts and prayers. Hope he gets speedy recovery. I hope that this does not
In
this
his career,
right
but
and his
it's gonna be a long road. Let's put it that way.
or this or
An unnecessary long road.
or discourages him from wanting to make a comeback. Like I said, like you said earlier, he has ex military PST. I hope that he did get
PTSD.
PST from this moment.
PTSD. PTSD. Yeah,
PTS.
hopefully it doesn't trigger it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too. Hopefully it doesn't trigger what's already there. So it's especially considering like his story that wrestling was a safe haven for him. So now the only thing that was a safe haven is now kind of, you
Yeah.
know, and that's the bad part. Because now it's like, where does he go now?
And hopefully everybody could get their mental health in check and everybody could come out of this better rather than worse. Moral to the story: everybody needs therapy.
And don't go to the back if he ain't there. He ain't meant to be there.
Right.
I mean, that's the easiest way. Don't go in the back. Like, fun fact, I remember what was it? It was nah. That was me with a wrestler at a meet and greet. That wasn't me going backstage. But even then, like me assuming it got me fucked up with Mark Henry nonetheless. But yeah,
With
took
the
a
Fuego
mean
on
chop from
top.
Mark Henry.
Um,
Yeah,
moving on in the news, we reported, WWE on ESPN. It's happening sooner rather than later. September WrestlePalooza, yada yada. Um, it was noted that during Stephanie McMahon's podcast, What's Your Story? One of her sponsors was a VPN. And during her promo to promote this VPN, more or less what she basically said, use your VPN on Netflix so you can watch WWE PLEs there rather than on ESPN. Um, WWE is encouraging bootlegging. This is not something that I had on my bingo card.
I mean it. I mean, hey, they know the struggles. They understand the struggles. And they also, I mean, and give Stephanie that much. At least she's a sweetheart. I met her in person. She's a sweetheart. So if she can get you there, she'll get you there. You gotta give her props for that. Shit. If there's nothing else, you gotta give her that much. Like, shit, at least you trying. Like,
Do you think it's WWE telling her, prompting her to make these statements, or do you think that she just kind of went rogue and said, "Don't pay $30, just get this $10 VPN, and you're good to go"?
nah, because I think most people are thinking that anyway.
I mean, it's not a bad idea.
It's not.
So, if this became the official WWE VPN so, to counteract the ESPN deal that obviously, TKO is going to be excited about. It's a weird thing, but it's also very interesting as well, I would say.
Yep. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, hey, you got to give her that much.
Yeah, good on good on stuff doing the
Good.
Lord's work.
Doing Lord's work indeed.
Not doing the Lord's work is a one Becky Lynch. During her promo on Raw, in Birmingham, I was gonna say Alabama, England. She brought up Ozzy Osbourne, who was a resident of Birmingham. Um, her her comments were not kind towards Ozzy, which prompted his daughter to actually complain to to actually call out Becky Lynch, saying, "How dare you do that? That was very disrespectful." It's not a work because in that post, Becky Lynch was not technically tagged. Um, a fan page of Becky Lynch was tagged, which prompted that page to get some hate, which prompted the page to be claimed, "I'm not actually Becky Lynch. I'm just a fan page for Becky Lynch. Her actual page is this."
Exactly. Oh Lord. I mean, it's always something, right? Becky catching strays ain't even there. Uh, hey, I mean, these people are posting stuff and just trying to get people's attention. So I mean, just gotta dig 3 layers deep sometimes because some people just see the headline and think, "Oh, go with it," right? So
Right. I think I will say that her comments weren't necessarily the best of taste, but I mean, I don't think that Ozzy would have cared. He had done he had done things with WWE before. He knew how it worked. Back in the
right, and I would think that like and that's the thing too, because you can't. This is the problem when it comes to wrestling. You can't. You can't scream keep kayfabe alive, and then when they act kayfabe in real life, you put it against them.
right,
And that's the biggest hurdle because it's like, well, wrestling's dead because they're all on there. Even if they stay in character in real life, in this cancel culture era, holy shit, you know what I mean? Like I'm surprised that JF ain't been canceled like 5 times. But that, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like we can't be that. We got to be able to be like, okay, us as fans, we either are going to respect the fact that they're keeping it in character regardless, or we just going to let them, you know, or get rid of it altogether and start from scratch. But what we can't do is both. They won't be able to be uh, uh, Becky Lynch on just on the camera and then off. It's like, okay, whatever. It's just, no matter.
I mean, it was only a promo in. It was a promo in the ring. I mean, she was. So I mean, it wasn't like she was doing like an interview with any jabroni Joe. Um, so I mean, it was. I think it's fine. I'm sure that she apologized privately to the Osbournes if need be, but I think it's just something that kind of got blown out of proportion for no reason. Obviously Ozzy just died a couple, not but a month ago, so people are grieving. Nerves are still raw. I get it.
Right. So, I mean, but it's still, though, it. we as fans kind of go, oh, well, that's too far. And it's like, and, and we just gotta either enjoy it or not. But we can't dictate how the stuff should be said to us or how they say the promo. We want them to be authentic until they're somewhat authentic, and we're like, oh, well. And that's the biggest problem.
That will conclude our coverage of the news this week. And now a quick word from our sponsors.
Hey, folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show. Support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.